Yosip, how old are you?
What's going on? 20, sorry,
28. What's your birth year?
2005.
If you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who would you rather vote for?
I voted for Trump, and I would probably do it again.
Okay. Why would you do that?
Honestly, I think economically, the way he's handled things is a little bit better than how Kamala would have handled things. I do think the tax code still needs
Are you
changes to it.
driving, by the way?
I'm not. I have AirPods in. I'm actually at the gym.
Okay, okay, for sure. Sorry, go ahead. So what economically,
Um,
how about that?
so I believe that. Well, to start, I think that the tax code that was set in place in the first administration was horrible, and I believe that the Democratic Party would never do anything to, I guess, improve on that. Um, I guess technically Trump hasn't done anything to improve that yet, but that is one of his promises is that he's going to make changes to the tax code and improve the middle class.
Maintain the
Um,
tax code. So did you know that Kamala Harris was advocating to keep the tax policy the same for income earners under $400,000 a year in terms of the Tax Cuts
right.
and Jobs Act, and that she was only going to increase taxes on income over $400,000 a year? And then Donald Trump would actually increase taxes for income earners under $400,000 a year that Kamala Harris would have not imposed.
Right. So that's by, I guess, by affiliation. You're saying is that due to the tariffs that it's increasing our taxes, not necessarily written in the document.
Tariffs are taxes.
Right, but not necessarily written into the, well, how would I say this? The actual, it's not per person, it's per importation.
Sorry, I can't really tell what you're saying. Maybe it's the AirPods. What would you just
Hold on,
say?
let me just,
Only send a guest
that should,
request if you meet that set of criteria listed on the screen as always, everybody. Chat, he said
awesome.
20, by the way. Yeah, so why do you go back to what you were saying?
So with the tariffs, that's not necessarily written in the tax code to affect Americans directly. It's kind of indirectly that it affects us. Obviously, any sort of importation, increased taxes on imported goods is going to affect how much for services and products, but that's not necessarily
Yeah,
a direct.
which will disproportionately raise taxes, right, for lower and middle income individuals because they spend a greater proportion of their income on consumer goods.
Of its value this year alone. However, I do think that, I mean, if you look at China's economy currently, China's economy is deteriorating at a quicker rate than ours is, and that's our main competitor. So if we are affecting our, I guess, main foreign adversaries at a higher rate than it's affecting our own economy, is that not beneficial?
No, not necessarily, because it would harm both of our countries. And then also in terms of this, how do you evaluate that they are reducing, like based on what
Reducing in
metrics?
size and reducing in the strength of not inflating more, but if you exact statistic I'm thinking of right now. Hold on.
If anything, they're leading towards deflation, right? They had a 0.4% decline in prices. So are you saying that, but that prior they had slight increases in inflation? It's okay. I'm confused. What's your point with this?
I'm saying China's economy is weakening quicker than the United States economy, even though the strength of the dollar has gone down.
Again, based on what metric?
Based on, well, the tariffs, I guess I'm talking specifically about the tariffs, but administration currently. That's a fact.
So you could say that Ukraine's in a better position now, but that's after the fact that Trump has changed his position back, and it would be better right now if it was the case that Trump was never in office.
And what's your grounds for that? I want to know why do you believe that? And it cannot be just from the funding aspect, because funding was pulled and his stance was changed once again. and now they're in a better position than they ever have been.
You keep restating the same point. Should I
That's
just
what
move
I'm
on
trying
the
to
next
say.
person? Like, this is a useless conversation at this point. Like, I don't know why just we're going over the same thing over and over again. I've already responded to that point.
I understand that, but you have not, like, I guess, acknowledged the fact that pulling funding is a reason that Ukraine has gained its, I guess, tactical advantage, because that affected Putin's perspective on the war itself.
Explain how specifically.
It's about perspective and tactics.
Explain how the perspective changed
Because
in
whenever
such
you
a way in
see-
which it benefited the defense of Ukraine for him to cut funding for Ukraine.
Perfect. Okay. So whenever an adversary sees, I guess whenever a country sees their adversary losing their main support line, which was the United States' main funding, and whenever you see that get pulled, your tactics are going to change. Whenever you see that they don't have funding and support from their main supporter, from the world's, basically their greatest ally for this whole conflict, whenever that support is pulled, you change your whole entire tactics. They were down. They were having to pull in troops from North Korea. They were contacting troops out of China to assist in the war, putting them on the front lines using them as cannon fodder. They were so down. And then when Trump pulls support, that's an immediate, I guess, cue to increase forces on the front line and immediately attempt to, and successfully, by the way, after Trump pulled support, they immediately started gaining land in South Ukraine. And then as soon as they had, I guess, kind of made their way into South Ukraine, Trump's whole entire opinion on the subject changed, and then those troops were immediately cut off and pushed out. And that weakened the entire supply line of the Russian troops and the entire supply line of their food, their transportation. So that basically was like opening the door and then slamming it in their face, hurting them more than it would have helped them. So allowing Putin to make advances just to, in turn,
That doesn't make any
cut
sense
off
because they would
those
get hit
troops.
harder if you hit them. Again, they would get hit for a second time, whereas in the other scenario, this is just like putting them in a better circumstance and then bringing it back to what it was prior. That doesn't actually like provide the next like hit or something like that. That doesn't make any sense. The process is not the same at all. So like you're not
When
really
has
actually
increased-
providing a method for it like being more beneficial. You try to say it like affected the supply chains. What specific effect would that have on the supply chains that would be beneficial for Russia?
Okay.
I mean, a negative for
Perfect.
Russia?
So, right. So perfect. Whenever you gain
Wait, can you
that,
tell me, how about this? Let me ask you this question. Where has, for example, Ukraine gained in 2025?
Ukraine gained into Russia.
Yeah. Into like
So
what they previously had.
one thing I can say is, so the box truck shipment of the, I believe, 48 drones that had, I believe, 100 pounds of ammunition on them that went and bombed a Russian flight line full of bombers and, gotta be careful here, like AWIZs and stuff like that, like huge gain, like hundreds of millions of dollars invested into these aircraft, and Ukraine makes huge advances and then immediately loses the South because funding from the United States has been cut off. That in turn lengthens supply lines and transportation requirements and funding and troop requirements. Every time you gain land, it costs you more and more troops, not just because they're dying trying to fight for that land, but because you need more troops
Where did
to
they
set
gain?
up infantry control points and
Where
defense
did they
points.
gain? Where did they gain?
Right, so this is where they gain. Whenever you lengthen those supply lines, whenever you lengthen those supply lines, it's like a rubber band. It may be thick whenever it begins, but as soon as you pull it across and lengthen it, it becomes thinner and easier to cut off. When Trump's funding increased for Ukraine, it was easy to then cut off that extended supply line, which kind of had an adverse effect, kind of like a domino effect, and completely collapsed Russia's entire push into Ukraine, which was more operationally
So
beneficial.
what
for
supply line did it cut off by doing that? Or, I'm sorry,
The southern supply line.
giving less
The
funding
southern
to
supply line.
Ukraine to defend themselves. How does that cut off a supply line for Ukraine,
That-
for
no,
Russia?
you-
And then secondly, I'm asking you, what did Ukraine get back?
So I don't think you're understanding. So when we cut off funding, the Russian forces gained land in the south of Ukraine. as soon as we cut off our funding, right?
Meaning
Seemed
we're in
like a bad
worse
idea.
position.
At first, I was like, that's stupid. Why would he do that? I was like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Why are we not in support of them? Why are we allowing Russia to take land? And then when I see that line of effort get expanded and they pull farther into Ukraine, and then we immediately push funding right back in and we cut off those troops, and it has a domino effect, completely crippling the Russian push into Ukraine as soon as we put funding back in. That is the operational damage.
I'm sorry. The funding being in versus out does not cause them to have the ability to like cut off troops. What?
No, as soon as we increase funding and as soon as we increased
Where did we cut off the troops? Where did we get back the land that they took from us?
South Ukraine.
Where in South Ukraine? Can
Do you have a-
can you give me like a single article that reports on that?
Yes, go to look up southeastern Ukraine province.
No. Give me like an article.
I'm on my phone right now. I can't exit TikTok or
You can swipe out, and you can go and find it, and then come back and tell me. And chat, I don't know if I want to restart my live again, but this is getting so frustrating. I can't do it anymore. This whole like fucking lag is unbelievable. It's so bad. It's intermittent. I understand it's intermittent. And right now it's fine. So we're just going to hold on to it being fine, but like it's just going to be bad in a second again. Yeah, the thing is if I want to reset my internet, I have to end the live. Gabriel, thank you for the Cooper flies. Thank you. Diane, thank you so much for the $20 on Cash App. Thank you so much, Diane. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Catherine, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. And Lola, thank you for the $15 for the internet fund. It's the area. I can't upgrade anymore. I might just have to like move at some point and find a place that has like fucking better internet.
Okay.
Go Feisty, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much, Feisty. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Give some W's for Feisty in the comment section as well. Thank you.
So if you go to the BBC's control map of Russian territory, you will see on the timeline, if you swipe from the bottom of the map, that Russia's territory has been cut off. They lost about 20% of a province in a matter of a month, 2 months. You go to the map timeline on the BBC's Russia war tracker.
Okay, all right. I got you. This is from September. Nice. And where did they get cut off? This is Russian control.
So obviously, Crimea. I'm not referring to Crimea because
where does it say that they got cut off and like where we had a benefit because of the fact that Trump cut the funding?
Specifically, the Donetsk region. We have Ukrainian forces have regained territory since the initial Russian push early 2025.
Where does it say that?
You can swipe on the map and see the timeline.
Swipe on the map. There must not be a timeline on this one. Let me type in timeline. Don't really see what you're talking about, actually. What's the title of the article you're looking at? Can you just clarify so that I can ensure that I could look at it? Yeah, I don't see this timeline, what he's referencing. All right, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. Helps get it out to more people. Let me make sure the internet is fine. Hopefully it's good now. It's getting really frustrating. I just don't get it.
It's if you scroll down to the bottom of the article, you can see the older maps, but it's not.
What's the title? What's the title? I can't hear you when you're out of the app. You got to come back into the app to tell me.
Okay, my bad. Ukraine and maps tracking the war with Russia, originally posted in 2022, and it's updated 24 September 2025.
Yeah, that's the one I'm on. Where's the timeline?
the farther you scroll down, you can see the older maps. Can you not scroll on the timeline on the first map?
Wait, no, no, I see. I can scroll down, but scrolling down doesn't tell you specifically that we cut people off since 2025. This is talking about 2022.
If you're looking early August.
Here's September 2025. If
You're
anything,
at early
there's more
August
than
to early
taking-
September to late September.
Early August to late September. Where does it say early August to late September? Wait, early August
How
is
specific?
2024. It looks like Russia gains control. I'm confused which one you're looking at that tells you what you're talking about.
How military control of Ukraine has changed.
Wait, restate that?
How military control of Ukraine has changed. Look at the September 2025 map and tell me what you see around the city of Mariupol.
I'm looking
And then
at exactly
compare
what
that
you're
to the
saying,
map
and it's
on
not
top.
coming up. Minerals yield, three is fighting, military control has changed. Here we are.
Right.
This
The
is
top right
2022.
map. Right. Look at the
And
top right
it
map.
just
of the
shows
four maps.
Russia controlling more land. Are you saying that maybe you have the argument for the north of Ukraine, but that was like in 2022 it was gone, and Ukraine gained ground in 2022 in November.
Specifically, I'm referring
September
to
2025. It says Russia edges forward. So actually,
Right.
it's saying that you're wrong.
So it's edging forward. Yeah, it's okay. So edging forward as in it's gaining land in the south, but
Yeah,
if you're looking at
no place on this
southeastern-
map does it say that they pulled back from the 2025 rate in which it was. The end just says in September 2025 that Russia edges forward.
Look at Mariupol. Look at the city of Mariupol, and you will see that they've lost control of Mariupol.
Where do you? Okay, that was
Bottom.
that was in 2022.
Southeast. Look at the top right map.
That was March 2022 to November 2022. That was in 2022. Okay, what is this guy saying? Sehen, thank you so much. I really appreciate the $20 on Cash App. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If you're on YouTube, everybody, hit a thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. It will help get it out to more people. I apologize for all the lag, everyone. I'm really not trying to have lag. It's been very unfortunate. I apologize, everybody. Hopefully it's a little bit better now. It's good. It's good. All right. All right. I'm glad it's better now, at least for now. At least for now. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. If you're on YouTube, again, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. We're going to keep going with the debates, everybody. We're going to keep it going.
Okay, so I actually found the YouTube video that I watched.
The YouTube video that you watched? Oh, no.
It's Jason J. Smart, and it's
Why are you telling me a YouTube video?
breaks Russian line in Donetsk region, which
I'm
is the
sorry,
region.
Can I have something other than a YouTube video?
Okay, you can. It's got. Hold on. Like, I don't know where else to find the article because I'm pretty sure that
that was probably an important thing for you to justify. You know.
It has to be an article rather than an infographic created by somebody who tracks foreign affairs and global affairs.
Yeah.
And
Instead of just some random YouTuber. Yeah, I would love for it to be an article. That'd be great. Like,
Well, he has multiple articles cited in his video, is what I'm trying to explain.
Okay.
So if I'm pulling,
then why don't you tell me the citations for those articles? How about
because
that?
I'm not pulling up the.
You've watched the
mute me?
video, right? Like, I mean, I'm a YouTuber, so can I cite myself?
Can you? I mean, yeah. Technically,
Yep. I say you're wrong, buddy. Look, I cite Parker Get a Job. He said that actually you're wrong, bud.
You're saying you can't cite yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm citing myself right now, and Parker Get a Job said you're wrong, bro. I cite
Okay,
Parker Get a
fair
Job. Owned. Look at that. I'm citing Parker Get a Job, best source you've ever heard of.
It's not a bad
Just
source, I'll
'cause,
admit.
yep,
He
not a
definitely
bad
has
source.
good
You know what I mean?
opinion.
I'm citing number one YouTuber.
Number one, I don't know. I think
Number
Dean's.
one
I
of
think
all
Dean's a
time.
little ahead of you right now, but
No, I'm number one. I'm number one.
I don't know. I agree. You
Jennifer, thank
definitely
you for
have.
the $5. Thank you, Joey, with the $5. Melissa, thank you for the $5 as well. Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm not going to pull the exact articles that he used, but if you look up 7 towns in Donetsk freed, and you'll get articles.
Wait, repeat that again.
7 towns in Donetsk region freed.
And Donetsk region freed. Okay, and what is it from? Oh, is this the citation from YouTube?
Yeah, Politico EU is one of the sources he.
What?
Let me check the other sources he
No.
uses.
What's the title for the article? He literally just cited me the fucking YouTube video. I can't do it, man. Jennifer, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sorry, everyone. I was responding to my girlfriend. London, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. Hashtag Parker number one. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I don't see what this guy's saying. Hey, man, let's just be totally honest. You don't have good evidence of this. Obviously, Trump cutting the funding did not lead to better circumstances in terms of the defense of Ukraine. So you can just concede. It's okay. Cassie, thank you so much for the $5.
Okay.
The most tremendous YouTuber the world has ever seen. You know, even my enemies say that. I tell you. Appreciate the $5 selection. Thank you. Wow, so terrific! I tell you, like when people see the stream, they say, "Wow, it's the most terrific stream I've ever seen before." I've never seen such a stream that was so terrific before.
Okay.
Wow.
There is
Just wow.
infographics, but I have found out that they were not pulled from an article. He created them, so I will
Tremendous.
have to maybe join again another day. But you're right. There is no article. He is creating his own infographics. I guess the only other thing that I would want to bring up is what is your opinion on what Candace Owens is doing? I know she just rescinded her support for Trump, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, given the fact that Charlie never.
We can talk about why you support Trump. I don't think this is relevant to why you support Trump.
I understand that, but
Okay.
when there's political violence and then you suddenly get Candace Owens switching sides right after there's political violence, why do you think that
I get you have some topic you want to talk about. There are plenty of people that want to talk to me about things that are not related to the live. We're only talking about things related to the live here. If you want to talk about something else, you can always start your own stream if you'd like to.
Okay. Then his stance on DEI is something that I was going to at least pivot to that.
Okay, so like what specifically about that? Can you name like a quote unquote DEI policy that you disagree with in terms of Democrats?
I disagree with DEI as a whole, as an entirety. I think it's stupid. I think DEI itself is just absolutely a horrendous policy. It's in colleges where it shouldn't be. It's in workplaces where it shouldn't be. It's in the government where it shouldn't be.
Can you give a specific policy that is DEI that Democrats agreed with that you disagree with? Give like a specific one.
Yeah, the Harvard Law School DEI policy, where it required the admissions policy of 2020.
Harvard admissions policy is not a policy from the Democrats.
I understand that, but I believe that
I'm confused how that's relevant. We're talking about specifically like Kamala Harris. Like, what DEI policy did Kamala Harris support that you disagree with?
I thought it was about Trump, not Kamala Harris.
Well, we're making a comparison because, like, if you could go back in time, you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Who'd you rather vote for? That's essentially the analysis. I'm essentially trying to get people to realize they made the wrong decision.
I understand. I understand that. I think it was a choice of lesser of two evils. I don't think Trump's the best candidate, but I do think he's a lot better than Kamala Harris would have been.
Kamala. So like, but in what way? Because
My
again,
bad.
I'm asking you like, what DEI policy specifically did she support that you disagree with?
About specific policies, I don't think it's necessarily specific policies that I'm referring to. I think it's that Trump has made a very strong statement stating that he wants to remove DEI policies from every aspect of business, education,
This
and
is just a
government.
buzzword. Then it's just a buzzword. You don't even know a single policy specifically that they're going to get rid of. It's just a buzzword to you.
Buzzword as in because I'm not bringing up a specific policy or referring to a specific policy, you disagree?
Yeah, there's no
That
specific reference for it. It's just a word that has essentially no meaning, right? That you're against. Under your no, but when I say a word that means no meaning, I don't mean the word that we're all using has no meaning. I'm saying the word in the way that you're using it has no meaning because you don't know what it means. You don't know what you're referring to in that context. Right? When other people say DEI, like diversity, equity, inclusion, they have coherent concepts as it relates to it, but you seemingly don't have a coherent concept of what that is.
I'm understanding. I'm understanding what you're saying now. So if you go to the WhiteHouse.gov's front page, there is I guess, I know there's an article of some sort on there about DEI. If I look it up real quick, I might be able to find it.
Okay. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Let's go on to the next individual. We're going to get another person up here to help him out while he looks things up.
13985, that's what it is.
What'd you say?
Executive Order 13985, introduced by President Joe Biden in his first day in office. 13985.
Okay. Alrighty. And what do you disagree with in terms of the policy?
So if you go on the WhiteHouse.gov, it pretty much sums up exactly how I'm in disagreement with it.
So you're supporting that you just went to the Trump administration website specifically and whatever policy that they brought up that they disagree with?
What specifically ending DEI requirements in the government, hiring requirements in the government, having to hire a certain percent of people, having
like
to
what was the
positions
specific
for certain
what was the
people.
specific law that you're disagreeing with? Like what did it say?
It's not even a law; it's an executive order that I'm in a disagreement with.
What specifically did the policy say? Like what did it change?
So the new White House policy on ending the radical and useless spending on the DEI policy.
Radical and useless spending? That's a ridiculous statement to make. You're just literally taking what Trump said and you're just running with it.
Okay, then prove him. Like you can't prove him wrong, or else you'd be addressing the issue right now instead of addressing the fact that I'm not.
No,
bringing
I'm
up
asking you. I'm literally just asking. I don't even think you know specifically what you're supporting. Is what I'm saying. You don't even know what you're disagreeing with. You don't even know what the policy did. You have no clue what the executive order did.
I disagree with the whole preface of hiring based on race instead of ability and education and
you know
experience.
that DEI doesn't only apply to race, right? You know that
applies,
DEI applies to other connotations, right?
Right,
also,
exactly.
It's not just hiring based upon that. Things in the
race,
wait,
religion.
hold up. It's not just hiring. The policies are not just saying like, oh, just hire people because of their race. That's not what the policy says at all. It's specifically saying that throughout history, specifically because of the fact that there has been bigoted systems, it is the case that people were not hired in situations in which they were qualified, if they're a part of a marginalized community. So specifically addressing underserved communities, throughout history, specifically within the context of the government, would be to ensure that people who are qualified get into these positions rather than being limited from being into these positions, right? So it's not saying people who are unqualified get into these positions. It's saying people who are qualified are put in these positions because historically speaking, practically all these positions have just been filled by white men, and that's not most of the country.
Okay, and I completely understand what the preface of it, and I agree with its implementation. I agree that everybody that's able-bodied, and you should always have to pick the best candidate, regardless of their race, gender, religion, age, mental ability. It doesn't matter. Whoever the best candidate is, that's who you should be hiring. And I feel like, in my mind, the concept of DEI goes against that. Because if you're requiring a certain amount of a group of people, regardless of their race, religion, gender, etc., of those elements, if you're requiring a certain amount of those people, you're then, let's say,
Wait, no, hold on.
like,
We
let's
need instead of having the specific, like, unspecified particular policy that you disagree with that's DEI, how about you specify what specifically about the policy that you disagree with? Because it's not a requirement in the specific point that you're referencing. It's specifically to highlight communities in which specifically have been underserved by our federal systems and underrepresented, right? And by underrepresented, that means like less proportionally comparative to what the population would be making up on terms of like our overall population. Does that make sense?
Rephrase, I guess, what are you asking?
I'm asking, like, what specifically did the policy establish that you disagree with?
I disagree with having a hiring requirement for a certain percent of a certain group of people.
What was the requirement? Where in the EO was the requirement?
There's multiple, it's setting a basis for a requirement, it's setting a basis for legal action.
What does it say specifically that requires?
Where, in which policy specifically?
The one that you brought up.
The White House policy?
The Executive Order 13985. Okay. All right. Do give it a second, everybody. It seems like he doesn't even know what you don't even know what it is. You're looking it up right now as we speak. You're literally looking it up right now as we speak because you yourself don't know.
Quotation, because I know you're going to tear me apart if I don't get the exact word.
No, but like I'm just saying, you didn't know yourself already, and you're looking it up right now because you're trying to find that information. It was literally a boogeyman. DEI is considered a boogeyman to you. It's just like something that you're specifically saying is bad, but you don't even know what specifically you're disagreeing with in terms of the policies on behalf of the Democratic Party.
I just told you it's exactly what I just said. It's a hiring requirement for a certain race of people, religion of people.
Where was the requirement for this specific policy?
The policy itself?
Yes.
And that's why I'm trying to get the exact verbiage for you, so you don't tear me apart for not getting the exact verbiage.
Go ahead. We'll give him a second. If you're on YouTube, again, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen, everybody. And by the way, I'd love if you just like read it directly from like the policy itself. There's literally like a PDF as well you could look over. Yeah, if you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, link tree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube. As well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat. Bridget, thank you so much for the $20. Thank you so much on Venmo. Give me some W's for Bridget in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. You absolutely are. Thank you. Lulu, thank you for the level up. Alrighty, do give it a second, everyone. Alrighty. He's reading through everyone, he just had to make sure he was getting the specific words right. Dude, just give him a second, everybody. Dude, just give him a second. He's just looking for the specific words. He's definitely not just like looking it up and trying to find the information in the first place. Gare Bear, thank you so much for the Chasing the Dream. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Number C says, independent agencies are strongly encouraged to comply with the provisions of this order. Encourage. Interesting. Interesting. Do give it a second, everybody. We're gonna bring up another person to help him out in the meantime. Let's bring them up real quick. Sarah, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Oh. Alrighty. Do you give it a second? I apologize, everyone. Moose, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Moose. Alrighty. Lulu, thank you for the club victory. Thank you. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
I love you, Dean. I love you. I love you.
Dean? Oh my. Dean? Interesting. Okay, Yo, what's up? How old are you?
28.
How old are you?
28?
You said how old?
28?
And what's your birth year?
1997.
Okay, if you could go back in time and you could either vote for Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, who'd you rather vote for?
Trump.
Okay, why so?
I feel like life overall is better to live now as it would be under her, because when it was under Joe Biden, it was just trash. Everything was impossible to get.
Before we continue to go on, your sound is a little bit muffled. Is there a way you could fix that?
I wouldn't know how to fix it. I'm just talking into my phone speaker.
Maybe it's like the phone case?
Let me... Okay, I removed it. Is it better or no?
No, it kind of does sound like maybe you got water in your phone or something. Maybe.
If you gotta skip me, you can skip me. It's alright.
I guess we can try. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think that things are a lot more affordable now than it would be under Kamala, because under Joe Biden, it was obviously impossible for people to get apartments, houses, and now it's much easier for us to get it. And I think just life is overall better now.
Wait, so when did prices go down?
Well, the prices for apartments and the houses are down now.
Really? Where?
In Florida and New York.
Really? Florida and New York. Because I just want to let you know, like, housing prices have gone up since Trump got in office. Did you know that? Like, on average?
Not lately.
So, like, if housing prices have gone down, and specifically like within Florida, for example, maybe people are leaving Florida?
Is gas going down?
Gas has gone up since Trump got in office.
Gas has gone down the last few months.
Florida? No, no, it's gone up.
I just moved from New York to Florida, and it was much easier to buy a home out here.
Okay. So you would say, yeah, it's easier than New York because there are more people that live in like in a smaller area in New York. There's higher demand in the market. Okay. Any response? Oh, I think he just swiped out. Andrew, are you there? I can't hear you. And it doesn't look like housing prices are lower in Florida, by the way.
Yeah, if I could join in on Andrew's side, the value of the dollar has gone down at a higher rate this year specifically. So things may feel cheaper to buy, but in reality, the dollar was stronger under the Biden administration, but prices were higher. So it's kind of just your own perspective on things.
Well, that
things
doesn't make any
haven't really.
sense. So,
Well, if things are more expensive and the dollar is stronger, it has the same buying power. If it's less expensive but the dollar is weaker, then it has,
okay,
it's
so,
relative to
wait,
your income.
How do you determine whether or not the dollar is weaker or stronger?
Oh, easy. It's inflation.
The
And then in
price
comparative,
increase.
the dollars do is they will compare it to like the strength, the relative strength of like the euro or any other currency.
Sure. But the point we're arguing is that like it is the case that the price has gone up, right, for goods and services to a higher degree now since around since April, which is around 6 months ago, because of the fact that to a higher degree because it is the case that Trump imposed tariffs.
Right. That's what I was trying to say. I disagree with him saying that things are cheaper to buy. I disagree with that. I do not think the average American is going to have more spending power than they did 3 years ago. But I do disagree with the fact that the tariffs have hurt our economy. Initially they did. I agree. S&P 500 went down multiple percents, but it has since resurged. And then up until, I mean, I guess we'll have to see what happens with the new economic policy Trump just placed on China. But up until a few weeks ago, or up until I guess a week ago, the economy has been back on track as opposed to the downfall that it had earlier this year. But I would disagree with things feel cheaper to buy now. I would just say it's returned to the normal way. We kind of dug our way out of the hole that we were put in earlier this year.
So when you say dug ourselves out of the hole, we have lower real GDP growth since Trump got in office. We have higher unemployment since Trump got in office. We specifically have higher inflation since April when tariffs were implemented, right? We have such a bad jobs report that Trump fired the head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, claiming that the information was politically biased because he couldn't believe it was that bad. And then he hired someone new, and they indicated even less jobs than what was indicated for the month prior. So like that's specifically how the economy is doing right now. It does not look good. Thank you for the autumn. Thank you so much, CK.
I guess I'm talking specifically about the hole that, well, it sucks to say, but the hole that Trump dug us into at the beginning of the year. I think
thank you so much for the leopard. Thank you so much, Jalen. I really appreciate it. Give some W's for Jalen in the comment section right now for the leopard. Thank you so much.
I think he's done a good job of pulling us back out of the hole that he dug us in.
I don't think that he has. I think that he's put us in a worse circumstance than what we were in previously under the Biden-Harris administration. And if Harris were president right now, we'd have a significantly better economy.
As relative GDP, or as just the spending power of a middle-class American? Is that what you're referring to?
Wait, repeat what you said?
Are you referring to the national GDP, or are you referring to the spending power of a middle-class American?
For what specific point? I referenced real GDP, I referenced inflation, I referenced unemployment, the jobs report.
Okay, so with unemployment,
Thank you, Jalen.
well, I guess, okay, fair enough. In his first term, Trump created large amounts of jobs and contributed to unemployment. Yes.
Really? So what did he do to create jobs? Jalen, thank you so much for all the galaxies. Thank you. And Care Bear, thank you for the galaxy.
Well, first of all, slowing the outsource of jobs to Mexico and China, and then as well as...
Really? Because he net lost jobs under his admin.
Net lost jobs for Americans or for people, period?
He net lost jobs overall. Also, we saw a reduction in real
manufacturing. Right, overall, but not relative to...
We saw a reduction in real manufacturing investment as well.
Well... Manufacturing investment.
Yeah, manufacturing declined in terms of its investment under Trump, massively increased under Biden, and has declined since Trump got in office.
Okay. You're talking... okay, that makes sense. No, that makes sense. Okay. I would agree, yes, with you on that. But my specific point is that people's opinions on how the tariffs affected our economy initially I agree that they were extremely bad, and it seemed like it was going to tank our economy. But since then, the tariffs have proved to be less detrimental than they were initially.
No, tariffs have shown to be very, very detrimental, and it's continuing to get worse.
I would disagree with that. I think it's turning around.
Really? So, like, again, but how do you evaluate that?
Well, first of all, if you're looking specifically at, like, investment prices and stock market index and stuff like that, everything's going up.
The S&P 500. The S&P 500 is not a measure for the overall economy. And also, it was at all-time highs under the Biden-Harris administration.
I said stock index funds in general. So,
yeah, that's the stock market.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Everything is on a rise right now.
That's not representative of the entire market.
Then what, in your mind, is the representative of the entire market?
Real GDP, inflation, jobs reports, and the unemployment rate would be better measures.
Okay. I understand that the unemployment rate is has extreme issues, which I think should have. I mean, I think it's still possible under the Trump administration, and definitely wouldn't have been possible under the Harris administration, that we continue to cut the funding to food stamps and EBT and stuff like that.
So yeah, you know that's
government-
cutting. You know the big beautiful bill is cutting 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every single month.
And I think that we have, I think the blanket was a little too big on that. I think that that's a little far.
So, well, hold up. So are you okay with the fact that it cuts 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every month? So then overall, you want the bill not to be passed. So then why do you support Trump given that he passed this policy? And 420,000 children on average every single month will lose access to free school lunch and breakfast.
I guess I don't. I guess I just think he was a better option than Kamala was. But I do disagree with.
How is he the better option if it is the case that his bill cut 420,000 children on average every single month off of free school lunch and breakfast?
Because under the Harris administration, all of our tax dollars would have went to people who are EBT queens and living off the government and shit like that.
That's actually fucking incredibly insane for you to say. What do you mean, quote unquote, EBT queens? That's such a disgusting fucking racist dog whistle if I've ever heard one. If you want to talk about specifically like the,
it's not. First of all, it's not.
Hold up. If you want to talk about the context for food stamps, are you saying the 2.5 million people that were getting food stamps on that prior, right, specifically, right, shouldn't be able to get access to it or didn't need it?
First of all, that's not
420,000 children.
First of all, it's not racially
motivated.
motivated.
That's the distinction.
It's not
The distinction is
motivated.
just in terms of work requirements that specifically was imposed by the Trump administration. Under the Harris administration, there was no extra imposed food stamps that they were going to put in place on top of everything.
I understand, but at least we're starting to do something about government assistance and figuring out that there's
cutting people off. That's not doing something about government assistance.
I
That's just
understand
cutting
that, but
people off of it who need it.
There's people out there having children just to get the government benefits. Like there's people out there having 7 children just so they can live off the government.
Yeah. So one.
And that's a fact. You can't.
So okay, you think it's typical for people to have 7 children just to live off the government? I have a question.
Yes. Yes. Have you seen? There's so many videos. There's so many documented reports. There's so many. There's people, able-bodied people that are not working.
Why don't you do it?
Children.
Why don't you
Because I want to be a contributing member to society because that's a core value of mine.
Okay, so then why are you saying that some people? Okay, so are you saying that people just don't have values who are having children?
Yes.
Who rely
I
on the
agree.
government to some degree?
Yes. That is exactly what I'm
when you have
saying.
children, are they going to go to public school?
Depending what tax bracket you're in,
I'm asking
or I guess
you.
how much money you make and what you want your kids to.
I'm asking you. Like, do you think would you
Are
want your
mine?
children to go to public school?
Mine will be going to public school.
Okay, so then that's living off the government, right?
Well, I pay taxes for my children to go to the public school.
Okay, yeah,
Those-
and then the person who has children specifically, right, is also paying taxes, and then they're benefiting off the government because they also pay taxes into the system.
Right. I can see where you're coming from. However, what income are they paying taxes with when they're getting unemployment, living with EBT cards, and off of food stamps?
You said
And
what?
Section 8 housing
You said
and
what?
government
What you
housing.
just said?
Those people that you're saying are contributing to the public schools or to their government assistance with their Section 8 housing or government housing or food stamps or
What, you're just assuming that people are
unemployment.
specifically, like, literally just getting everything paid for in their life, right? And they're just able to live with absolutely doing nothing. And that's just not true. I'm sorry. This whole narrative that you have built up in your head, that like a huge portion of people specifically on these programs are just on these programs specifically because they just want to live off the government and they're not using them as sort of like a safety net to ensure that they can take care of themselves and their families is ridiculous. Literally, you have no studies to indicate the percentage of people. You're just trying to stereotype people who are particularly on food stamps, Section 8 housing, on all of these different governmental programs because they need to be, because it's a necessary safety net, and you're trying to stigmatize them to an even greater extent for no reason. What you're doing is actually creating conditions in which isn't going to lead to a greater level of social mobility. Whereas if we provide these particular programs, it inevitably leads to social mobility in the long run. People aren't on these
Social
systems.
mobility as in what?
People aren't
Take
on
a
these
pause
systems for their whole life. They're on these systems when they need it.
That's not true. See, that's
Yes,
where
it's
you're.
true.
That's
It
where,
is true.
That's not true because those people that are on these
Wait, what
systems do not
percentage?
get pulled out
What
of the
percentage of
poverty.
people on these programs are on them for life?
I'm not Google. You have it right in front of you.
You tell me. You go look it up.
Don't. You're sitting at a computer. I'm on my phone right now, bro.
It's your claim though. You're specifically claiming that all of these people are on governmental programs and living on them for life. Appreciate the galaxy. Thank you. So please tell me specifically what % of people on these programs are on them for life. Go look it up. I'll thank some people in the meantime.
I see how you're going to go about this, and it's you cannot just live on these for life. I agree with you because you have to have proof that you're trying to get out of the situation you're in. That is how you become. I guess that's how you become able to get into these programs. It's a requirement, especially for like unemployment. You have to prove that you're able to.
Okay, so then here's what you want to do. You want to cut millions of people on average off of their access to food stamps every single month, literally because you think that there's 1 or 2 people on the system that shouldn't have access to it. Do you hear yourself? You want to cut millions of people off of it on average per month, right? And literally hundreds of thousands of children off of their free school lunch and breakfast because you think there was 1 or 2 people around the fucking entire United States that didn't deserve to get access to it.
So no, not okay. So I think I may have misspoke. I don't want to cut everybody off. I don't know if I said that.
Well, you're cutting millions of people off through the big beautiful bill.
See, I don't see. I told you I don't necessarily agree with the big beautiful. Not okay. So I think I may have misspoke. I don't want to cut everybody off. I don't know if I said that. It's how he's trying to address the situation.
No, it's
now.
not. It doesn't say that anywhere. Where does it say that in the bill?
Say what?
Where does it say that in the bill? Like, where did he address that?
Address the reasoning behind the bill.
Yeah, what did he say?
It's to cut spending. It's a spending cut.
Oh, it's to cut spending. So I'm sorry, if you want to cut spending, how about we cut all the funds that are going to millionaires and billionaires in terms of massive tax breaks? How about we cut the spending that Trump was putting into the military that we're already spending over $900 billion a year on? $9 trillion over the next 10 years. Explain to me why we need to cut food stamps and we need to cut Medicaid and we need to cut free school lunch and breakfast for children, but we don't need to cut the military. Explain to me why we need to increase the military budget within this policy, add $3.4 trillion to the debt, give massive tax breaks to millionaires and billionaires, and then the way that you think that you want to fund even just a small portion of it, not even the whole thing, it still adds $3.4 trillion to the debt. Just a small little aspect of it is cutting children off of their access to food and having more starving children in this country. That's ridiculous.
So
that's absurd.
I agree with you. That does sound ridiculous, but that is not exactly my point. First of all, I do not believe that cutting children off should not be our priority. I think it's something that we need to address. I think that all children in the United States should have free lunch. I take that back, actually. No, that's not true. They should not have all free lunch because you have millionaires and billionaires that are sending their kids to school. They don't need free lunch. They can pay
all
for
of the children that were getting access to free school lunch and breakfast, specifically who are under the big beautiful bill that are losing it, should have access to it.
I understand that, and that's what I just said when I said I don't believe all people should have it.
Yeah,
I believe
the point is that you're willing to vote for the person that cut them off of it because you think that there's something so great about their policy outside connotation. So what is so great about Trump's policies outside of that connotation that justifies the children losing access to free school lunch and breakfast?
Cutting government spending, allowing for the dollar to become stronger, therefore having
this adds to the debt. This policy overall adds to the debt.
Maybe in the short term, yes, but in the long term, you're cutting off programs. How would cutting a program not cut government spending? When you're spending money
overall, it adds the debt. The passing of the bill overall adds $3.4 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years.
Listen, listen. So, are you familiar with the 2027 plan with China?
Clarify. No.
Okay, so by 2027, Xi Jinping has declared that they will invade Taiwan.
Yeah,
which is
I've heard of this. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. And they are a producer of 99% of the microchips in the world. They're probably the most important business in the world. And our stance has been that we're going to defend Taiwan and make sure that China can't take over, because if they do, they'll gain the economic, basically monopoly over the entire world. Because if they're able to nationalize TSMC, which is the creator of these microchips, they become the richest country in the world and nothing's going to be able to stop them. And that's a fact. So Xi Jinping has came out and said, hey, we have an aging population. People weren't having kids, and our population is aging at a dramatic rate. And post 2027, we're not going to have enough military age people to in turn invade Taiwan, take over this TSMC.
What is this pivot? My neck hurts.
Okay, perfect. Whenever you say that it's bad that we're spending more on the military, Cutting these programs is a permanent thing, something that in the long term is going to save us money. The military spending is not a long-term thing. We are gearing up in preparedness. I'm in the military, by the way. We are gearing up in preparedness for
Hey, bro.
the 2027
Sorry
invasion.
to break it to you, but Trump signed off on more debt-related spending. How the hell is this saving us money?
What do you mean, how is this saving us money?
Yeah, Trump
It's cutting
signed off on
programs.
$4 trillion more debt-related spending in his first administration. The big, beautiful bill that you just talked about added $3.4 trillion to the debt over the next 10 years. Explain to me how Trump is saving us more money.
Because he's cutting off a program, and then, okay, he's spending money, but it's in preparedness for the short-term goals that we need to reach in order to be prepared long-term.
So long-term goals.
Yes, for long-term goals.
Which ones?
Economic stability and the strengthening of the American dollar.
Yeah, he's making that worse off by imposing tariffs.
Short-term,
Tariffs
yes.
weaken our dollar.
Tariffs are not long-term. They're not permanent.
Okay, if they're not permanent, then they're not going to cause a permanent increase in domestic manufacturing. So what's the point of tariffs?
To, in the short term, leverage China. That's what the whole point of this is to leverage
Why are
China.
we placing tariffs on other countries outside of China?
Everything, it's all leverage. That's all it is. Everything is
Why are we
leverage.
placing tariffs on countries outside of the context of China?
Well, first of all, the EU tariffs were mostly because they were not contributing their fair share to NATO.
You understand that they were heavily increasing and they got over like the 2%. So what do you mean? What's a fair share?
And well, they should be able to hold. First of all, they did not get over their 2% before tariffs were implemented. That's a misconception.
Yes, wait. They did. On average, they're over 2%.
On average for Europe, period. I'm talking specifically by nation by nation.
We're talking about
Certainly,
NATO. Yeah, they are on average
yes.
over 2.
That's not correct.
Yes, it is.
How many countries are in NATO?
I can check.
So you're saying if all
32.
the countries put together, 32? So that means everybody on average is going to spend 3%.
2%.
You're basically, that's
2% of their GDP.
You're talking about European countries specifically on
Yes.
average.
Yeah.
Or my bad, EU countries, I should say. Okay, EU NATO countries were not spending their fair share as compared to the US. I believe that everybody should spend the exact same percent on,
So,
if
I have an article right here.
everybody-
NATO members all hit 2% target.
And when was this?
Here, actually, I have one that was from 2025. Here's 2024. This is before from the Atlantic Council. Who's at 2%? It tells you, and most of them are over 2%.
Okay, and then what is
the title is "Who's at 2%?" Look at how NATO allies have increased their defense spending since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and most of them are over 2%. The ones that are not, there's only I think it's 5 that are not, 5 or 6 here that are not over the 2%.
And what are the names of those countries?
What's that?
Which countries are those?
The ones that are not over? Croatia,
Correct.
Portugal, Italy, Canada, Belgium, Luxembourg, Slovenia, and then Spain. And Luxembourg doesn't make sense to do 2% because of the...
No, I agree 100%. They need to be... They're already kind of subsidized by European countries in the first place, so that would not make sense. I agree. But...
But do you understand my point? Most of them are already above. I can tell you, I can give you the examples.
I understand that, but when it comes to what percent that the United States puts into NATO, which is pretty much a treaty to defend Europe itself. I understand that Article 5 says if one NATO country is attacked, they're all attacked. That's mostly going to be European countries because that's when shit breaks
Can
out.
you just acknowledge that you were proven wrong? That it was not because of the 2%? Because most were already at the
What's
2%
100 divided by
2024.
32, Parker?
What's up?
What's 100 divided by 32?
That's about 3.
Yeah, it's about 3. So should everybody be putting in 3?
Why is 132? What's the point of those numbers?
Because there's 32 countries, is that what you said?
Oh, okay. What's the point of dividing it by 32? Why would you find what percent GDP they need to do?
Because if everybody put a exact same percent, that's their fair share.
They could do 2%. Why does it have to be 3%? I don't know why you got. I don't
Is
know
there
why you
50
divided those
countries?
numbers to get 3%.
Is there 50 countries or is there 32 countries?
There's 32.
Okay, and if you divide
by 32
one,
though, why do you divide 100 by 32?
because that equals 3, not 2. Everybody should be putting in 3%.
I'm
not
asking you,
2%.
but why do you divide 100 by 32? What's the point of doing that?
Because there's 32 countries.
But why are you doing 100 divided by 32?
Because there's 100% in one whole number.
Why are you trying to get what do you mean 100%? What are we getting to 100% of?
Funding. NATO funding.
What? What is this reasoning?
If each country, if we have a designated NATO number for funding, countries should be putting in 3% of their GDP.
Wait, I'm sorry. Because
sorry,
we want to
not
have 100% of the funding doesn't mean we take 100 divided by the amount of people who are on NATO, and then that determines what the percent should be. That makes no sense at all.
Why not? Then everybody would have the same.
My brain is melting. It's actually melting. What is going on?
And listen, that's why these European countries have free healthcare and shit, because we're spending all the fucking money on.
They meet the 2%. They meet the 2%. And
I
they
understand
spend half
that.
as much per individual as we do here in the United States. The reason why they specifically have universal health care is because they don't have as much specifically limitations in terms of putting universal health care in place, because it is a case that we have a greater level of corporation control over our politics.
And I believe universal health care is a human right. I think all Americans should have that.
Okay, and then you support Trump.
Yeah, that's one thing I cannot get with on him. But, there's more than one policy or more than one opinion that you have to... I honestly probably disagree with more than I agree with on him, with Trump. But I disagree with more stuff about
You
Kamala
disagree with more than you agree with. Okay, so again, can you name 2 policies of Kamala Harris's that you disagree with? That she advocated for?
Allowing transgender athletes to play in sports. She did not speak on it pre-election. Talking pre-election here. She did.
What's the second one?
Shit, name it. I don't care. She wasn't going to change the DEI policy, and Trump did. So
Okay,
that's period.
so he doesn't know the second policy, and the first one he said is that he brought up the policy, and then he said she never talked about it. You contradicted yourself, you fucking idiot.
I'm talking about 2 different policies. First of all, I just
What?
said the
You
DEI
didn't talk
policy.
about 2 separate policies. You said one of them that she never even talked about. So how could it be
Exactly,
the
the
policy she
transgender
advocated
athlete
for
policy.
if she never talked about it? How could she be advocating for the policy if she never talked about it? That makes no sense.
Because she declined it. She declined to answer questions about it because for the
That's
first.
not advocate. That means she didn't advocate for it.
I understand that, but she didn't advocate against it, and Trump did. Boom. There's one reason.
Wait, okay, so you're saying advocate against it. I asked for a policy that you disagree with. So I'm not, you didn't provide a policy you disagree with.
The fact that she doesn't support getting those athletes out of professional and collegiate sports, that's my reasoning.
Okay, so can you name one trans person playing in sports that you think is dominating?
Leah Thomas.
Who? Leah Thomas is not playing currently, and also was not dominating. She was definitely not.
Okay. And was she playing?
Yeah,
Under
but
the Biden
in the
administration.
past she wasn't dominating.
Oh. In the past, she wasn't dominating.
Yeah, she wasn't dominating.
I understand that, but she was a transgender athlete that was very competitive in the sport.
Okay. That doesn't mean that she was dominating. And also, again,
Did
give me like a.
I say anything about dominating?
Could you name any other person? And I asked you about dominating. I said name one specific trans person who was playing who was dominating women's sports.
It's not about if they're dominating or not. It's if
It
they're
is. It
competing
totally is.
forward.
Wait.
Because guess who's going to be in the same changing room?
Are you? Did you ever vote for a candidate that bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they were changing without their consent? Who was a man?
Not. Yeah, that's what Biden did, right?
No. Would you ever specifically?
No,
would you ever
I'm messing.
specifically?
No, that's horrible. I agree with you, but that's
So
not.
would you
a policy.
vote for a man that
I did.
bragged about walking into the changing rooms of naked women while they were changing without their consent?
It's going to be on my
So you
conscience for the rest
seemingly
of my
don't
life,
give a
but
flying
yes.
fuck about that at all.
Listen, it's about policy. Let's
Oh,
don't
really?
just because
Now-
I vote.
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
Hold on. I have a good point to make here. Just because
Okay.
I voted for Donald Trump doesn't mean Donald Trump is going to walk into my daughter's bedroom and look at her while she's changing. But it will ensure that
I'm
while
sorry,
she's
but you're okay
playing
with him
sports-
doing
hold
that
on,
to
wait, I
other
didn't
people's
finish. I didn't
daughters?
finish.
You're okay with
I
that
did not
him
finish.
doing that to other women? You're okay with him doing that to other
Okay.
girls?
Does me voting for him enable him to do that? more often.
Yeah, it enables people like that to be accepted to a greater extent in our society, and it perpetuates the greater likelihood of this type of behavior happening to a greater extent. So if you care
Actually, I disagree.
if you
I
care about
disagree with
if
that,
you care about the
because
women
when
and girls
most
in your
Trump
life,
supporters-
well, then you wouldn't support such a fucking treacherous and disgusting, horrible man like Donald Trump that creates such horrible conditions for women in this country. Right?
I do not support his character. You're right. I do
I'm
not.
push the galaxy. Well, you can't say that you don't support the character while simultaneously supporting him and putting him into the position of power without actually
You're not
being able to
voting for a
mention
character,
specifically
though.
the policies that you think are so great.
Listen, it doesn't matter what his. I mean, okay, it does matter, obviously, or else he wouldn't get the stage, or he'd be in prison, which he should be. I do agree with that. I do agree that he should probably be in prison, but. Well, there's no really but to that.
You
He
think
could
Trump
probably-
should be in prison, but you think he also should be
Yeah.
president? What do you think he should be president from fucking prison?
Listen, I know that's kind of crazy, but let me ask you something. Parker.
No,
If
hold up.
you
Do
had
you
the
think that
option-
Donald Trump should be president from prison?
No, that's not possible legally, Parker.
Okay, but he should. So you think he should be in prison, which means you think he shouldn't be president, then, under your view.
Oh, no, listen, Parker, I think you've got me all wrong. I would have voted for anybody who was in that slot against Kamala Harris. That was better than Kamala Harris. My bad.
Okay. So why is Donald Trump better than Kamala Harris?
I just told you. You asked for two policies, and I gave you two things that I disagree with Kamala on.
You didn't. You didn't give a specific policy on either or.
I told you two
What was
things
the second?
that
What was the
I'm
second
in favor of
policy?
Trump's opinion.
You didn't even provide. The first one wasn't a policy, but
I did
if
at
I were
the
to
very
grant it,
beginning.
what is your second policy then?
I gave it to you at the very beginning of our conversation.
Which was?
The DEI movement that was passed.
Which
under
you
the
still
Biden-
don't know what it was. So that brings up a great question. Did you find out what the DEI words were? Did you look it up yet? Did you find that information? Because you completely tried to ignore that one. You tried to move on and you tried to pivot. So I can't believe the fact that you brought that up again.
Actually did. So this is the specific thing. Since I'm a government worker. So whenever I see for government agencies that they are supposed to quote
He swiped out of the app.
assess. I'm going to get the exact words for you. You know, I want to make sure they're exact.
Go ahead.
Assess the extent to which systematic barriers are in place.
Assess why systematic barriers are in place. Okay, what's wrong with that? Okay, I can't hear you right now.
And to perpetuate them to one more
Hear you
line.
currently. I didn't hear like any of what you said, by the way. So go out, memorize it, and then come back in, and I'll thank some people while you memorize it.
Sorry.
Mark, thank you for the $6.60. Thank you so much, Mark. Jessica, thank you so much for the $1. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Rebecca, thank you for the $2. Thank you. Teresa, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Teresa in the comment section right now for the $50 on Venmo? Thank you so much, Teresa. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Millie with the $10. Thank you. And Christina with the $50 on Venmo. Can we get some W's for Christina and Teresa in the comment section right now? Thank you so much for the $50 on Venmo. Thank you. That is so kind of you. Avery, thank you for the $5. Thank you. As well as I need to catch up on YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. If you're on YouTube, hit that thumbs up. If you're on TikTok, tap that screen. And if you want to support me, as always, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Linktree in the bio, as well as the description of the YouTube, as well as you can support me over YouTube Super Chat, everybody. Let me look at YouTube real quick. Give me 1 second. Rich, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Moose with the $50. Thank you so much, Moose. I really appreciate the $50. Thank you so much. Get some W's from Moose in the comment section right now. Thank you so much for the kind words. I can't swim. Thank you for the $1. Ellen, thank you for the $2. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I definitely do not. Randy, thank you for the $5. Jen, thank you for the $2. Thank you. And Carolina, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. Hopefully he has. I'm done thanking people now. Hopefully he has found the words.
So each agency must assess whether and to what extent its programs and policies perpetuate systemic barriers to and benefits people of color and undeserved groups.
Yeah, so you kind of cut out. So it seems like you're just saying that they were assessing different systems that marginally impact
So
people.
my argument against
Like
that and
marginalized
the
people.
administration's argument against that is the vagueness. What is the exact way that they're supposed to go about doing this?
Wait, now you're worried about vagueness? Didn't you not know what the policy was in the very first place? You came up here with the most vague point about DEI ever. You didn't even know the specifics of what you're referencing, and not only
this
until
is
now
what caused
did you
this is
figure out what the
caused the
specifics
issue.
were.
Listen, when okay, not taken out of context, but when taken with, I guess, depending on what barriers should be knocked down. No question about that.
Wait, so then you don't disagree with the policy?
I don't disagree with the verbiage of it. However, I disagree with the fact. Yeah, 100%. No, I have the same reaction.
Wait, did you say that you disagree with the words and now you're saying you agree with the verbiage?
So the verbiage itself, depending on your perspective on it and how you understand it, can be good or can be bad. I agree.
How could it be bad?
Perfect. Awesome. So the reason it is bad is because there's no specific description on how they're supposed to knock these barriers down. So instead of knocking them down, they just created hiring. This is what businesses are doing and the government is doing, is they're just pushing for certain races, groups, religions to be in positions or hire them.
Again, you're not telling us the specific policy that does that. And again, in reference to this policy, you're only referencing one of the aspects of the policy. You have to read the rest of the policy in order for them to be able to evaluate that. You didn't even read the whole policy yet. So actually, you know what's so vague? Your understanding of any of the things you're disagreeing with.
See, I guess you're not getting what I'm putting out right now. It's the fact that it's vague enough to the point where people felt that they would be held legally liable if they didn't put up certain requirements for hiring inside of businesses. It doesn't say that in the policy. I agree with you. The verbiage of the policy is good. It makes sense.
Who thought this?
It's how it should be.
Who thought this? On the policy, it literally said that it just suggested people. It never had any type of enforcement. If you agree it never had any type of enforcement, explain to me how the hell, right, it would have done that. You just lied. You just made that up.
I did not make it up because it doesn't give you specific requirements for hiring in the policy.
Okay, if it doesn't give you specific requirements, so then how does it enforce it?
Because you can pull up that exact verbiage that I just said, and you can say, oh, they denied me hiring because I'm black and or I'm a Muslim, or that I'm gay, or that I'm, identify as transgender.
I'm sorry. If you were denied based upon those reasons, you shouldn't be denied. According to the Civil Rights Act specifically, you wouldn't be denied.
I 100% agree with you. Again,
you shouldn't be denied,
agree.
right? That's the law. The law makes it so that you cannot be denied about those things.
I 100% agree. But with this policy in place, that vagueness on the verbiage makes it to where you can say, just because I was transgender, I got denied. Not because I had less experience.
No, it doesn't. You're making this up. You are literally yapping and making up bullshit.
No, I'm telling you that this is exactly true. That if, for example, let's just say
it's exactly true. You haven't even read the policy yet. How the hell could you know it works that way, dude? Come on. You're making this up and you're running with it. You're overly confident about something that you did no research about.
Just because I've seen other people talk about it. I've seen Charlie talk about it, rest in peace.
Oh, God. The fact the fact that you just cited him as a source specifically is actually diabolical. I'm sorry. You actually have to do research on things. You can't just say that you listen to a debate bro talk about it.
Listen, this is where I agree, but some of us have different jobs than you. Your job is to sit and to learn about all this stuff, and you're a great wealth of knowledge. I agree with you. You're extremely smart, and if you were up for election, I would vote for your ass. I'm not gonna lie. You're extremely smart. This is your job. This is not my job. I don't have that kind of time to do those things. You have to understand that. I don't have...
No, you do. You do. You
I don't,
have
though.
You have the ability to critically think. You absolutely do. You have the ability to do
100%.
research. You're doing that on my stream right now. If you have the ability to watch Charlie, you definitely do, right? And it is the case that people in the chat, right, also have other jobs outside of the context of me, right, and still have the ability to be able to do this as well. So, like, I don't buy the excuse that you don't have the ability to do any type of critical thinking.
I know, but you cannot compare me to yourself whenever it comes to...
I didn't compare you to myself. I compared you to the people who are in the chat, who also have jobs, right?
You don't know what all of them know. Maybe the specific ones that are pulling up things have, like, let's see, you have 5.5 thousand people. Let's say 100 people are commenting.
3,000 people on YouTube.
Oh, that's nice. Congratulations, by the way. That's awesome. Basically, yeah, it's like, so let's say you have 8,000 people in here, and you've got 150 of them that know more about a policy than I do, because we're jumping from policy to policy, just trying to, I guess, understand the scope of what we're talking about, which is Trump versus Kamala. There's going to be 100 people in there that know. God damn, I'm not going to get that right. I'm sorry.
You can just say
Harris works, yes. I'm just not going to get everything right, you know? I mean, there's 8,000 people here, like that's awesome. But there's going to be people that know more than I do, and there's going to be 100 people.
Wait, that's fine.
Like, you know,
I'm just saying that you have the ability to do it. You were trying to discount yourself and say that you don't have the ability to critically think, or you didn't have the time to, and I'm telling you, you do. You do have the ability to go through this. I'm not asking you to do it overnight and to know everything off the top of your head always at all point in times. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you have to know as much as I do. Right? That's not what I'm claiming as well. I'm just claiming that you have the ability to do a research on this claim before you like believe something. You shouldn't just believe things because you heard Charlie say it. And I'm especially saying that because I debated him and I knew that he fucking lied all the time, and that's just true, right? It is true. He lied all the time. You can look at the videos on my account. You can watch it. I literally do a fact check of literally the conversation. It's consistent lying. So like I have to acknowledge that.
Right, and I mean, he also, like, he may not, this may have been subconscious lying as well. Like, he may have been in the same position as me where he has a source that he trusts and it was lying to him. You know, and maybe that's just, you know, I guess he's trusting a primary or a secondary source that's inaccurate, and by me trusting him, that's trusting a tertiary source that's inaccurate, and so of course there's going to be, the farther you go down the line, the more inaccuracies you get. There's only so much you can take from perspective, but when it's a game of telephone like that, you're gonna have obvious things that are wrong. So like fact checking during a debate like this, both sides are gonna have things wrong, and that's a fact.
Okay. Yeah. So, but I definitely think it's gonna be more prevalent in terms of that side for sure, because of the nature of the conspiracies that you have to believe in to be able to like follow along with MAGA. Like,
can you just name one that's
stolen in 2020?
Oh, I don't think shit. No, I don't think. Okay. Oh, okay. That's kind of a rough subject with me because there's so many MAGA objectives and subjects that I do disagree with. I don't label myself a conspiracy theorist. I don't label myself MAGA, Project 2025, any of that.
Let me see if I can get you real quick. Do you think that if a presidential candidate incites a violent insurrection, that they should not be allowed to be president?
Well, January 6th, that's what we're speaking of right here. I disagree with January 6th. I 100% think he was in the wrong for that.
No, just in general. Do you think if a presidential candidate incites a violent insurrection, do you think that they should be allowed to be a presidential candidate?
That's a good question. More legally, I guess technically he can. Morally and ethically, it's probably not the best idea to have somebody that does that.
No, legally you actually can't. If it's proven that you incited a violent insurrection,
why is he not? Why is he in office then?
Yeah, because it is the case that the proof specifically that he incited the violent insurrection comes after the point in which he pardoned the violent rioters, which he did from the position of presidency. Right? So this isn't something that could be ingrained in the context of the law, at least from a criminal law perspective, because he's currently president. So that's the issue. And now in terms of this, that's what shows us as people that he condoned and was okay with, right, the violence that happened on the day. If he pardons them and he calls them patriots, that tells us he was okay with the violence on the day. Prior, he had enough plausible deniability to say that he didn't want the violence because he said peacefully protest, right? Although it took him hours in the National Guard and to tell people to go home, right? It is the case that he had enough plausible deniability by just saying that. But he doesn't have that plausible deniability given that he pardoned violent rioters who beat police officers. So if we can just establish from this basis that he has incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol, right, an unjust insurrection, then clearly wouldn't we say that he shouldn't be allowed to be a presidential candidate?
Sorry, you cut out there for the last, I'd say, 2 sentences you said there.
So shouldn't we say that he shouldn't be allowed to be a presidential candidate given that he does, or he has incited a violent insurrection at the Capitol, an unjust violent insurrection?
I definitely think it hurts his case. I think if, let's say we didn't have this two-party system, there's no shot. But the fact that we had two choices, I mean, that's the only reason I voted for him.
Okay,
sorry,
again,
the only reason
really
I would,
Kamala Harris is worse.
Kamala Harris is an extension of the Biden administration, in my opinion.
And?
Biden was not all there. Trump is losing his shit right now a little bit, I would say. He's shown that he's declining mentally and physically.
I have a question. Are you driving?
No, my buddy's driving me home.
Okay, for sure. Sorry, what were you saying? Repeat what you just said.
Sorry about that. So let me think about that again. Oh, okay. So I see Kamala as an extension of Kamala, first of all.
Kamala. You say Harris.
Harris. I see Harris as an extension of the Biden administration because I feel like she was puppeteering the whole time, or at least for the last 2 years.
Okay, so what did the Biden-Harris administration do that you disagree with?
That's where I don't think they took enough action. I think they were very conservative in their policy, and I think there was action that was needed. And I think the only person that really does that kind of stuff, like you look at domestic policy. I think Trump has made more changes than anybody. I mean, you saw him sign that many executive orders that put that many waves into the media and stuff like that right at the beginning. It shows that he at least is trying to put effort in and make changes.
So you're saying that they had no domestic policy, but you also said that they were like too conservative in their policy. So which one is it? And also
conservative
Trump's
as
more
in
conservative.
they didn't make right. No. So, well, that's another funny thing. That's a different rabbit hole. Him calling conservatives dumbasses and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is they were too conservative in not making policy changes. Like they were kind of just like stood idle. They didn't really do a whole lot. You didn't see a whole lot of media coverage over executive orders, policy changes. So you didn't see as much media coverage over it though. So why is that?
So just because there wasn't media coverage over it doesn't mean that they didn't do it. So there was the bipartisan infrastructure bill, there was the Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan. All right, we can point to plenty of the policies specifically passed by the Biden-Harris administration that were beneficial, especially for the working class.
So the Inflation Reduction Act did not actually reduce inflation. Let's start
that
off
wasn't
there.
the main aspect of the bill. I know it's named that, but the main aspect of the bill was
Then
to
why is it the name
build
of
up
the bill?
domestic manufacturing. You can say you disagree with the name of the bill. That doesn't change that you disagree or not with the policy in of itself.
That makes absolutely no sense. I'm sorry.
What? How? How does that make no sense?
If the name of the bill is an Inflation Reduction Bill, the point of the bill is to reduce inflation. That's like saying a circle is a circle.
Yeah, and the big beautiful bill is not a big beautiful bill.
Okay.
And it
but
did,
it's not as
it
to the
did
point,
reduce
you know?
inflation. It just didn't reduce inflation to a very high degree.
I would disagree. So what you're saying is
reducing.
A fallacy because nothing's reduced inflation. Like inflation is going to exponentially increase because the value of the dollar is just exponentially decreasing. So you're not going to. You can slow the acceleration, the exponential acceleration of inflation, but you can't slow the inflation itself.
That's slowing the inflation. You can slow the acceleration of inflation and slowing inflation. Now Trump is imposing a greater upward. Trump is putting upward pressure on inflation. Did you know that? Because it is the case that he is imposing tariffs, which put upward pressure on prices.
You have to think though. That's a short term. That's a short term thing. The tariffs are not permanent.
Okay, so again, you say short term. It's still putting upward pressure on prices, at least in the short term, correct?
Okay, that's fine. Yes, I agree.
And if it's only short term, then you're telling us that then there's going to be no specific domestic manufacturing increase in the long run. Did you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I'm cutting out really bad right now.
So if it's just short term, then there's no domestic manufacturing increase in the long run.
I would disagree with. I mean, that's for future. I mean, that's from future legislature. I think that will be addressed, hopefully, future in the administration.
Wait, repeat that. Sorry, you said that will be addressed by the administration. In what way?
I guess we'll have to see, but I don't think that's written in. I don't think that's written in the sand yet. I say that because things change so often. So.
Okay, so you're just saying like, oh, maybe the economy won't be bad in the future. That's not like a reason as to why like Trump is a better candidate, you know?
I understand that, but I don't think. I mean, there's no proof. Kamala has never done anything. She has never had an achievement of her own that changed any sort of economic standing.
She had a tie-breaking vote on that, which is the largest investment in renewable energy ever, and the $35 cap on insulin for those that are on Medicare. Okay, so
and I agree with
that
those
she didn't do anything. Let me ask you this question: name a single thing that a vice president has done as vice president in U.S. history.
Let me think real quick. No, I don't have anything off the top of my head. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, you could have said that J.D. Vance spent a lot of time on the couch and vacationing, but it is the case that you didn't know a single thing a vice president has done in U.S. history. So if that's true, then how could you evaluate what Kamala Harris did as vice president? You clearly don't know anything a single vice president has done throughout the entirety of U.S. history, so you obviously wouldn't know what she did as vice president, so you couldn't evaluate what she did or what any other vice president did.
I think her case is a little different, though. I think that she had to take a bigger step because it's a fact that with the cancer and everything, Biden's condition was worsening at a rapid pace, and it was time for her to step up and make the decisions, and she failed to do that.
When you say she failed to do that, what are you talking about? How did she fail to do that?
Did you see anything come out, any legislature come out with her name on it, or did she speak at all during that time? In between,
Yes,
whenever...
I just gave you an example. Did you hear me at all? The Inflation Reduction Act was passed through a tie-breaking vote
Just
of
because
hers.
she set a tie-breaking vote on a liberally created bill, like
What?
she's obviously going to vote in favor of the Democratic bill.
Well, I'm sorry. You understand that that's something that she did and that she influenced to get passed. She was literally influencing and advocating for people to pass a certain legislation. She got certain aspects of the put it in.
What certain aspects did she come up with on her own that got put into the bill, or did she
Yeah.
just advocate
So
for things that were created by others?
She was specifically advocating for the increase in the investment, specifically for especially in the infrastructure bill, the what's it called, broadband for rural communities. So it was expanding access to like Wi-Fi and broadband to rural communities.
They need
That's
food, not
something that she
fucking
specifically
Wi-Fi.
advocated for. Oh, what's up?
They need food, not Wi-Fi.
Wait, so then why do you support Trump even though he cut 420,000 children off of free school lunch and breakfast on average every month and 2.5 million people off
You want me to be honest with you?
stamps? Yeah, that's not increasing people's access to food.
Wait, hold on. So you're saying that he cut off in those third world countries and stuff, he cut off the infrastructure that we put up over there, right?
Dude, did you hear anything I just fucking said? What? Trump specifically engaged in policies that reduced people's access to food, reduced food stamps, and also reduced access to free school lunch and breakfast to the tunes of 2.5 million people for food stamps on average every month and 420,000 children off of their access to free school lunch and breakfast. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, specifically advocated for policies like the $6,000 for the first year of a child's life, $3,600 through them being 5 years old, $3,000 through them being 18 in terms of a child tax credit, which reduced childhood poverty by 45% when implemented through COVID emergency policy and 2021 through the American Rescue Plan. You got to come back into the app for me to be able to hear you. Astounding. Thank you so much for the $3. Thank you. Thank you so much. As well as Dakota. Thank you for the $5. Thank you so much, Dakota. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I think you muted me, or I muted myself on accident.
You swiped out of the app.
Oh, that usually doesn't mute me. That's weird. So, I'm guessing I'm trying to, I guess, address your claim that Kamala Harris was. You said she wanted to give Wi-Fi access to third world countries, correct?
No, that was here in the U.S. You dumbass.
Okay, I did not understand exactly what you were saying. So why are we subsidizing Wi-Fi access when we should be focusing on getting these people the education and capabilities that they need and to dig themselves out? Like, you teach the fisherman to fish, he feeds himself for life. You can't just give it to them like that.
Dude, when we're talking about providing access to food, yes, you do just give people access to food. That's how it works, right?
I understand. Initially, yes, you're right.
You understand? There's a safety. It's a safety net to ensure everyone has access to food. Okay.
Okay.
And also,
yes,
increasing
I agree.
access to Wi-Fi increases access to education, which clearly MAGA needs, and it increases access to social mobility.
You can drive to McDonald's and get free Wi-Fi there. That problem's solved. Like,
In rural communities. Yeah, they tell me they want to drive to like how far in order to be able to get to the right McDonald's, bro. Come on. I'm sorry, we're talking about rural communities getting broadband where they are That increases social mobility. It increases access to education, right? Which clearly this
Okay,
country needs.
and what changes has that made? What changes has that made now? Do we see higher education? Do we see people getting out of poverty? Do we see people getting out of the social class that they've been stuck in?
Well, specifically, those particular policies did lead to people having better conditions. Like, dude, you would be, if we were like in the fucking, right, in the 1900s, you'd be the person advocating that, like, we shouldn't have expanded electricity access to rural communities. Why should I have to pay for them having electricity?
I'm confused. How?
Yeah, you would have advocated against having electricity in rural communities to a greater extent, imposed particularly through, right, different governmental programs, which they were.
Am I against giving electricity to Americans? No.
To rural Americans, like historically.
No, I'm not against that.
Okay, that's the same policy you're essentially advocating for here in terms of specifically saying that, like, oh, what's the reason why we need to have access to internet, right, for specifically people in rural communities. Internet is similar in terms of its positive impact in terms of social mobility, right, and quality of life.
Listen, I do agree with you on that, but how does that affect, like, what are we seeing results-wise now?
Like, again, more people having access to those programs. And again, results
right, what are
right
the results
now,
then?
Trump is gutting these programs, right, specifically.
Okay.
In terms of results
so what progress have we made?
I got you. What are you asking for, actually?
No, it's your claim that this is beneficial to our society. So what progress have we made since that legislation's been passed?
Like, what do you mean by progress? Do you want to know how many people specifically got access to, like, greater levels of high-speed broadband?
I want to see what it did. I want to see how many people got out of poverty. I want to see how many people, I guess, got out of their low class or their social class. They moved up. I want to see people moving up. I want to see those people getting out of the situation that they're in. Because that's the point of this whole thing, right?
Okay, so we would see those impacts within the society, but we'd have to be able to estimate those impacts. We obviously know that increasing access to the
Congratulations.
Internet obviously increases people's access to social mobility, which is going to increase their standard of living and quality of life.
So we know that it will make conditions better for people as a whole.
Okay, so I want to see what got produced out of that. What's the product of that we have in front of our eyes right now?
I don't think you are going to be able to get the information that you're looking for, because there's not a specific claim of this many people specifically were taken off of poverty because of the access to access to high-speed broadband, right? But it increases access to internet, which increases social mobility, which we know is positive for our economy as a whole and important for people in rural areas, which is especially why we did something in the past, specifically like providing access to electricity to rural communities. You could have said the same thing. Like, if someone couldn't have had a specific study back then to specifically claim that, right, then...
You have to have electricity nowadays to live, basically. In America, specifically.
Yeah, and it's important specifically to have access to the internet now in order to be able to get access to things now. So, what's your point?
You're right. It is important. It is important. I agree. However, it's not a necessity of life. The electricity was like an extreme. Like
having electricity is not a necessity.
I know. I just said not necessarily a necessity, but it creates the ability to live comfortably. Period.
Yeah, and same thing with
without
internet.
electricity.
Same thing with internet.
It does not make as big of a difference. No.
I think it makes an incredibly important difference, and also I think this is a good thing. Do you disagree with this?
Wi-Fi makes just as big as a difference as electricity itself.
I said it doesn't make the same difference, but I do think it makes an important difference. Enough of a difference for me to say that it's good to pass, right?
Yes, I do. I agree.
Okay, so then what are you disputing here?
I'm disputing the fact that we are giving we're subsidizing communities instead of giving them the tools that they need to get the hell out of the situations that they're in. Or not communities, but social classes.
What you're not understanding is this increases social mobility, so it is giving people the ability to do that. This isn't providing everything for people. This is providing the ability for people to have greater levels of social mobility. The internet is a tool. It doesn't hand everything to you. It's something that you can use to make your life better. And you're actually advocating against increasing people's abilities to get things that they could use to benefit their life in that manner.
So you think internet will directly change the dynamic of the of the low class social class?
I think it absolutely benefits our country.
So do you think that all lower class neighborhoods and lower class areas and lower class counties and stuff like that, that typically income stays around the same, and
I believe in universal internet access. Like, I think that we should have internet access funded across the entire United States. I actually fucking hate ISPs, like, in general. I think that we need better infrastructure for internet and stuff in general. So, like, I think right now we don't have good infrastructure for internet, and we need to have, like, more government involvement in ensuring that people have adequate access to internet. And they don't get ripped off by fucking shitty ISPs, you know?
I think that Starlink is the future. I think that may affect that, and I'm hoping that. I don't necessarily think it should be. I don't know. We definitely have the ability to once the Starlink satellites become like readily available, and like I understand that you can still get very high speed internet from Starlink, but once there's like a crazy amount of satellites in the air that are self-maintain or not self-maintaining, but easily maintainable, and the cost of maintenance goes down, I think that eventually you're right that will just come with time. I think that's something that will come with time, for sure.
Okay, so like in general, like again, this is another example of how Trump is not better for the set of circumstances. So like, why do you want Trump?
I think that's something that comes with time, regardless of who you vote into office. That's not an aspect of it.
So then, like, why do you want Trump? Like, what's so good about Trump here, man? Because it seems like to me, like you're starting to agree with me more.
Oh yeah, I told you probably 25 minutes ago that I agree more with you on a lot of subjects than I do with Trump. However, I do think that he at the time was a greater candidate than Kamala or Harris, and I believe, like, if you look back, I remember in like November-ish, December-ish, I was starting to kind of get my regrets and stuff like that, but I remember like very early election cycle of 2024, Harris was very absent in going to press conferences, media coverage, statements, taking. I think she kind of expected to inherit the popularity of Biden.
She had 107 days. Okay, she went on a bunch of media tours. She went all around the country, did a bunch of different things. She was constantly working. Okay, the idea that she didn't do enough, I think, is very ridiculous. I mean, there are a few things I could point to, like maybe like it would have been good if she was on Joe Rogan. She could have convinced Joe Rogan or something like that with Theo Vaughn, things like that. But in reality, right, saying that she didn't do enough saying she didn't do enough, I think is more ridiculous. Actually, I think that really the ownership for like specifically doing more work, I think definitely is more to be put specifically on the voter base, because the voter base, if they did 1 ounce of critical thinking, would have voted for Kamala Harris over Donald Trump. Literally, like, the main reason in exit polling specifically for why people voted for Donald Trump was because they attributed inflation to the incumbent president, right, the Biden-Harris administration, which they had no evidence to indicate that it was caused by the Biden-Harris administration. And Trump's policy ran on increasing prices through the context of tariffs.
So if I'm going to be honest with you, at the time, if I'm just going to give you the reason why I voted for him, it's going to be because at the time I was in military training. I didn't have I did it for about a year and a half. I had training and stuff, and so when it came election time, it was my first time kind of getting into politics and stuff like that. And I took a quiz online. I made sure that it wasn't
your audio just got really bad.
Sorry. I took a quiz online, and basically it said that I aligned 61 or 63% with Trump, and that's literally the only reason I voted for him. I know, but that's pretty much that's how I know I agree with more of his policies, because it showed me which policies I agree with his and which ones I disagreed with of Kamala, of Harris.
I'm gonna go to the next person. I hope you change your mind, man. I hope you change your mind.